Good evening. How is everybody doing this lovely Friday evening? If you saw the thumbnail, I'm going to be dragging Miss Pam Bondi. But before we do that, because it's going to be like lots of fun. I don't think anybody likes her. Like nobody out in like the MAGA camp. I don't think they like her because Matt Gaetz, and of course everybody else just doesn't like her. The left doesn't like her because she's in Trump's admin. You know, libertarians just don't like anybody, not even each other. So anyway, how is everybody doing tonight? Hello to the chat. I see you all there. Let's see. I am doing great. Oh goodness, what is with this style here? I don't know what happened. There we go. That's a little bit better. I like that. But I don't know what's going on with my display. I really don't know what happened. Anyway, by the way, y'all, if I freeze again, like I did last stream, please let me know. Friday the 13th anniversary of the outlawing of the Templars. Yes, Deuce Volt. We should be Deuce Volting again. Boogaloo. A Deuce Volt Boogaloo. Hello, everybody. Oh goodness, you can see my wall over there. Let's see. Maybe I gotta turn it a little bit this way. Maybe. Okay, that's better. All right. So, how does everybody feel about Miss Pam Bondi? Like before she testified in front of Congress, like how did you like her before? Like, did you like her? Did you feel neutral about her? Did you dislike her? I was not a fan from the get-go. Like she just seemed like she was going to be very incompetent, and I was right. She's extremely incompetent. I don't understand why she's still there. She's what you call a post turtle, okay? And a post turtle, if you've never heard this joke, so a post turtle is, well, the story goes that there was a man that kept seeing a turtle on top of like a fence post, those old wooden fence posts out in the country. He would just see a turtle randomly just on this fence post. And then I guess farmer came by and he's like, what's with the turtle? I keep seeing a turtle all the time. He's like, oh, that's what you call a post turtle. It didn't get up there by itself. It doesn't belong up there, and it doesn't know what to do when it gets up there. That's Pam Bondi. She's a post turtle. She didn't get up there by herself. She doesn't belong there, and she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing when she's up there. So, yeah. Although, you know, the turtle, of course, really is Mitch McConnell, but we'll just, for the sake of the joke, we'll just say Pam Bondi is a post turtle. She's an Israeli blow-up doll. Ooh. I would not want to have that on my conscience. Yeah, so the thing about Miss Blondie is, at first she kind of started to hit the ground running, right? Everybody wanted the Epstein Files. That was a big thing everybody wanted. Of course, everybody wants deep state arrests, and yes, you know, that's not going to happen. Of course, it's deep state, you know, they're not going to arrest themselves. And she's trying to hit the ground running with the Epstein Files, making all these TV appearances. Oh, they're on my desk, and we have tens of thousands of files. We have truckloads. And she pulls this really humiliating sort of stunt with the Epstein Files. I just thought, let's go ahead and see if we can find some of these photos, because it honestly, if I was one of these people, I would have been so mad that I was basically just taken for a fool, because they didn't actually give you any files. What they did is they brought in a bunch of conservative influencers, because y'all remember this. Okay, we're going back, by the way. We're going to go back this timeline of Pam Bondi's absolute failure of a term here. I want to say term. I don't know. First time in service here as the Attorney General. So, y'all remember this fiasco? I don't know if I can make it any bigger. But this fiasco right here, DOJ pushes FBI to review release more Epstein files. And let's see, right here. Is DC Drano, but the whole smiling with Epstein files, that was a bad look. I remember everybody was saying that's such a bad look, because it's a serious topic. So smiling about it, yeah. Anyway, says my mic just cut out. Oh goodness. See, I got better equipment now. Okay, we don't want to have a video. Okay, so she did that whole fiasco, right? It was let's see. Share this tab. This one. So this whole fiasco, right? And they were flipping through it. I guess they weren't allowed to flip through it when they were given it. Like it was just some sort of like really tense meeting. They're given these folders, just hand it out. And when they go through it, it's just like a total nothing burger. Like there's like nothing in there at all that has anything. Nothing. It's just like the smallest bit of nothing. Things that were already out there. And it said phase 1. Phase 1 of what? Absolute like dumpster fire of a shit show. Anyway, so Miss Blondie pulls that little stunt, right? And and then these people are absolutely just humiliated. Like people start dragging them online because like they're smiling and like I said, it's a serious topic. You shouldn't be smiling about people who are trafficking children, right? Like, so there was that. And she would, of course, go on TV all the time. She loves going on TV. That's what she wants to do. Just go on TV. She loves attention. She loves the limelight. And on an interview, I don't remember who it was that she was speaking with, but she's like, yes, they are on my desk, blah, blah, blah. And then as we're like, okay, we're waiting. Where are they? Oh, I didn't say that they were on my desk, or I didn't say I had a list of names on my desk. When the question was, do you have like the list of names? It's on my desk. No, I was saying the files to review are on my desk. I didn't say that the names were on my desk. So she's not a very good lawyer. Lawyers are supposed to be able to like lie convincingly. She cannot lie convincingly in the least. So I don't know if you like. I was sent a clip, a South Park clip of how they're portraying Bondi. Have y'all seen how South Park has been portraying Bondi? Due to copyright, I'm not going to bring it up, but they have Pam Bondi on there because they're actually doing Trump administration on this season of South Park. And every time they show her, she's got shit on her nose, like actual like shit on her nose, because of course she's an ass kisser, which leads me to let's just fast forward. Leads me to what happened this week. So Miss Blondie testified before Congress because the wonderful great Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, and as well as a few other people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, and I forgot who else, pushed to get this act, the Epstein Transparency Act. I believe that's the name, Epstein Transparency Act. What they're trying to do is, because whatever they did release was like hyper redacted. Like it was just like nothing. Like you can't even make out anything. Like why bother releasing it? Because it was so redacted. So they released this act to unredact the perpetrators' names. The victims, they should stay, redacted because they're victims, So they were supposed to unredact perpetrators, redact victims. What did they do when they finally were told by the Congress, hey, we have this act, you need to, release these? They released maybe 3 million or so documents. At least 3 million at first, because they've only released it in 2 rounds. And apparently they've missed deadlines on releasing these like they're supposed to. And they redacted perpetrators' names. And there's a lot of victims who were not redacted. That's like the exact opposite of what they were told to do. So some congressmen and women went to the DOJ and was like, okay, we're like going to look at these files unredacted because they're Congress. They can do that. And I don't recall, like, Blondie said that she invited them, but I doubt it. So they're already in violation of the Epstein Transparency Act. They've missed so many different deadlines and just making excuses. Now, some people are saying it's because it takes years for a federal case to, be put together. But in this act, there's certain things that they could still release it. Like, there's foreign dignitaries that, what are you going to do trying to put any kind of federal case? They're living in like Abu Dhabi or whatever. Like, so anyway, congressmen go over to the DOJ, read some unredacted files. I believe Lauren Boebert said that Ghislaine Maxwell really should be getting worse punishment that she's getting right now and should be in a really more harsher facility that she's currently at, which I was like, ooh, like she sounded like really venomous there when the way she said it. Now, after this whole Congress views the files unredacted, Miss Blondie goes up in front of Congress to testify about their missing deadlines and like why are they redacting the perpetrators and not the victims, and like there was co-conspirators that were still redacted that they were supposed to be unredacted, and they found them and they're like, hey, this is redacted, it's not supposed to be redacted. And what does Miss Blondie do? Of course, she pivots to something else, but it's so hilariously bad on what she pivoted to. She not only had her back to the Epstein victims, would not look at them. They all raised their hands and stood up, saying that they've tried to give information to the DOJ and try to give their testimonies to the DOJ, that they also were snubbed by the DOJ, despite offering to give them testimony. And also, and the saddest thing was that they all said they felt like they were ignored by the DOJ. These are victims of Epstein's. Like, they were all female but one. There was one male. And keep in mind, this wasn't all females. It was, of course, mostly females that were victimized, but there were males too. There were little boys that were also victimized because he was trafficking to, powerful people. Not all powerful people are into ladies. So, it's absolutely disgusting. But anyway, don't want to think about that anymore. It's depressing and horrific. So anyway, so she testifies, and Congressman Massey even mentioned how they were not redacting, or they were redacting some of these perpetrators and co-conspirators. And she said, we fixed that within 40 minutes. And he said, because I caught you red-handed. Like, they weren't going to unredact that. Like, Congress has to hold their hand, it seems. And normally I do anything but praise Congress. But for this, how they're actually pushing to get this unredacted, I am actually proud of the ones that are. And, especially of Massey. Yeah, but I'm always going to, carry a flag for Massey. He's been the biggest fighter for liberty that we have in the House. But Blondie, back to Blondie. Besides being stuck up and rude and smug to the Epstein victims that were sitting right behind her, she brings up the stock market. The Dow is over 50,000. That's what we should be talking about. And she basically puts on like some sort of big campaign speech for Trump. Like it sounded like it was a Trump rally campaign speech that she was putting off. It makes me wonder, and I even said this on X, does she have a thought of her own, or can she only regurgitate Trump's Truth Social post? Because a lot of her ranting, because she got a bit unhinged there. She got quite emotional and angry, and she looked very uneasy. She looked like she's not used to, or she's not good at sitting in the hot seat like that. She was very flustered. She was, getting very emotional, out of control. It was a sight to see. And it was the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen out of anybody that has testified before Congress. And even Hillary did the whole, what difference does it make? And Hillary started to lose her cool during the Benghazi hearing. But Blondie was like worse. I didn't think anybody could get worse and more emotional than Hillary did. But she did. And she's just went on this whole tirade about we should be talking about the stock market and President Trump did this and this is people's 401ks. Woman, the topic is about trafficked children. The fact that you're bringing up the Dow, especially in front of the victims like that, is appalling. At the very least, it is disgraceful. It shows that you're really trying to distract from something you should not distract from with the most irrelevant shit. And somebody even said, what does the Dow have to do with anything? And she left, what does the Dow have to do with anything? Like, yes, woman, what does the Dow have to do with anything? Like, it was the stupidest attempt to try to distract from what she was there for. I need some tea. I'm getting all worked up. So she was losing her cool. She was getting super emotional. She was getting flustered. And she was trying to distract and throw out all these kind of campaign, like I said, I heard that she actually had note cards with insults. Like, who does that? This woman doesn't seem like she's a very smart woman. And I don't want to say the whole like blonde stereotype because I don't like to, pull that kind of stuff. But she's really making it look bad for women, for blondes, for any kind of demographic that she represents. She's making it look bad for them. She is sitting women back like decades. Like, women in power it's not like a super new thing, especially in high positions of power. Kamala already made that look bad. I thought Kamala was bad, but Pam Bondi, I think that her career is going to be completely over after she's no longer Attorney General. But she's not going to get fired. She's not going to get. She's not going to resign. If she does resign, actually, it'd be wonderful, but I doubt she will, because she's got this ego. She likes to go on TV too much. But Trump really still likes her, and he actually said she did a good job. Like, do we watch the same hearing? Apparently not. That, or like he just really likes how she kisses his ass. If you ever see any of the meetings with Trump and Blondie and everybody else, she really is just President Trump's great leadership, blah 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 blah. you don't have to kiss his ass every time there's a meeting just because he's in the room and you want the media to know this and that. If he's doing a good job, it'll show. It's not quite showing the greatest right now because that over 50,000, apparently all these record highs have been under every single president. It's not really a big new thing. And sorry, but inflation is still really high. I don't see what the fuss is about. Like, there's a lot more to complain about than there is to be happy about. So I don't know if she just went in there unprepared or if she's just that bad. Because she stood in front of Congress, threw a fit, and called Massey a failed politician. Which, how is that an insult? Politicians these days are conniving snakes. So, good. Good on Massey. Yeah, he's a failed politician. Good. I would want him to be because he's a good man and he's a fighter for liberty. A politician these days, and Massey himself brought it up, are paying off their sexual assault allegations or sexual harassment allegations with taxpayer money. That's not Massey. So if that's the measure of a politician, then she failed at insulting him because he's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful. So yeah. If you don't support Trump, you have Trump derangement syndrome. What? That's what a MAGA person told me on X. No. If you support Trump at all costs and you will not criticize him, then you have TDS as well, but it's called Trump deity syndrome, where he can do no wrong, which he is human. He's going to do wrong. We should keep our representatives accountable. If Massey messed up with anything, yeah, I would criticize him for it. I really would. If it needed to be criticized, and we should not hold any kind of, and I'm saying and I say Massey, not Trump, because everybody knows how high of regard I have Massey, but the thing is that you should always keep your representatives and politicians accountable for anything and everything. You can never stop being critical of them, because if they, think that they have your favor all the time, they're going to start to do whatever they want. And then your liberties get chipped away and their power grows. So I just, the fact that there's like that feline feces guy that will not criticize anything Trump does or says, it's insane. Now, the left is always like, Trump, MAGA cult, MAGA cult. It's not all of them. It's definitely not all of them, but there are some who do seem to treat it like a cult. But that's true of the left as well, okay? That's definitely true of the left as well. Like, the cult of Obama is still around. Let's see. The way they treated Trump was compared to how Jesus Christ was treated. I don't know. I don't want to make any kind of comparisons between Trump and Jesus. Dude, I've always said you're fine. I will call BS whenever I see it. Yeah, you should. You should absolutely call BS when you see it. You should not try to. You should not overlook any kind of faults that representatives have, because if you don't keep them accountable, that's your liberty, that's your freedoms, that's like your environment, your whole country, everything depends on these people that you elect. And if they're not doing a good job, it can seriously affect your life. So I just don't understand how whoa, hold on, feline feces has been in 59 bar fights. Careful with those words. Oh yeah, the 59 bar fights. I remember that. That was a fun day on X. Um, he's um he's definitely an odd one. Massey for president. I really like him in the House though because he keeps at least Congress somewhat accountable. And as regards to saying the pledge every stream, as patriotic as I am, I'm gonna have to pass. Apparently, the pledge was actually made by a socialist. But yeah. But I get. I'm picking up what you're putting down. The left are a bunch of lunatics who all live in a fantasy world that doesn't even exist, and they can't even figure out which public restroom to use. I'll probably get bullied for this, but I don't think Massey will make it. Massey is one man against how many people are in the House? He's like one man against all of them. And occasionally there's one or two in there, but unfortunately, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is starting to do really good. I was really starting to like her, and then she just resigns. I kind of wonder if she's going to actually run for president. I wonder if she's actually gearing up for that. Can we do a goth pledge? Well, is Poe? I got my Poe book right here. Is it going to be Poe? This is going to put your hand on the classic stories of Edgar Allan Poe. pledge to the Raven, nevermore. Anyway, MTG Massey 28. I don't know. I'm not sure if Marjorie Taylor Greene ever wants to go back into politics again. She seemed like she was done with politics. And I kind of don't blame her because she went through a lot to back Trump. And the one time she disagrees with him, he drags her like terribly. And that kind of like betrayal is just, I don't know. I don't blame her for just leaving politics behind because she carried a flag for Trump most of her career. And then the first time she goes against him, he drags her. And that was like one of the worst things that I've seen out of Trump was the backstabbing of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now her disagreeing with him is not a backstab. Like I said, we should keep each other accountable. We can have disagreements. We should be able to have disagreements and have them civilly. But apparently he wanted loyalty, like without any kind of criticism, which is like, how are you going to know if you mess up if no one tells you? So the way he treated her after that, I don't blame her for quitting politics. I don't. I absolutely blame Trump for running her out of politics. And it's a shame because, like I said, she was doing really great. She was helping Massey with the Epstein Files, and she was standing for the survivors. And she was doing a lot for the survivors, a lot more than Pam Bondi, which we're going right back around to the topic, of course. Okay, let's see. We don't deserve civilization. We need a new dark age. I think this is something of a dark age. Hence why I believe Trump is a socialist, in my opinion. Here's the thing, is that Trump could probably propose socialist policies, and his camp that are blindly loyal will applaud them. And then the lefties who are openly socialist will be against them. I think, okay, for shits and gigs, I think it'd be funny if Trump proposed like universal health care. Like, I know there's Obamacare, but hear me out. Because he already worked on the whole Israel-Palestine thing. And they absolutely hated that he had anything to do with that. Although I hear that, you know, Netanyahu's not done with Gaza. He wants to, you know, he still wants to control Gaza. Which, okay, yeah, you've made your intentions known. Apparently, he's back at the White House this week. You know, is in front of Congress, and I saw a video where somebody was comparing Congress applauding Netanyahu to North Korea applauding Kim Jong Un, and there was a lot of similarities. It was actually terrifying because one is a world leader of not our country, and the other is our leaders of our legislative branch just applauding and seal clapping for a world leader across the globe. But yeah. Anyway, we are digressing. Netanyahu also ran defense for Ehud Barak, yeah, who had lots of correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot. You could search let's see how many times Ehud Barak is in the Epstein files. Let's see, justice.gov. Oh, it's already in my address bar. So I've been going in them like randomly when I think of something. I am not a robot. No. 18 years of age of older. What if not? Of course I am. I'm old. All right. Ehud Barak. I think I spelled his name right. 3,976 results. Why would an international child sex trafficker at that, be corresponding with a prime minister of another country? Yeah, he's in there nearly 4,000 times. And a lot of these are email correspondences with Jeffrey. Let's see. Let me go ahead and pull this up. This is a text message. They were even texting, I believe. I'm not sure if this is actually text between Ehud Barak and Jeffrey, but let's go ahead and read this. Okay. Yeah, Ehud Barak. Oh, and there's a number here. I wonder if somebody tried to call any of these numbers. Not bad, which no, I can reach you later. So I guess I'm assuming that this is Epstein. The blue. And we've met, fascinating person. And yeah, these are text messages between Boris. Boris who? This is back in 2013. I wonder if he's talking about Boris, what's his face, from England, the UK. Call failed Moscow. And then a redaction. Redaction right there. I'm getting number not available. Let's try tomorrow. That's a very odd communication here. It looks like the 212 number is probably Epstein. I would assume it's Epstein. This is back in June of 2013. I don't know. But yeah, let's go back and see. I'll show you. Right here, 3,976 results. Netanyahu, of course, is in here. But only 639. All right, it's got him. Oh, what is this? Sorry, I'm getting distracted here pulling this stuff up. Must for revolution ever imagine being Mubarak's successor? I don't know this. All right. Anyway, let's go back to this. Ooh. There we go. So let's see. How could anybody be a Democrat after all the damage the Democrats did to America? You know, the Democrats have done a lot of damage, but Right now, the Republicans aren't doing that great. They are passing high spending bills. They are not passing the Doge cuts. They are uh, instead of ending the Department of Education like they said they would, which of course this goes on Trump, giving it what $300 million if I'm not mistaken. So the Republicans have power, and it's like they don't know what to do with it. So they're just yeah. I, I don't know how to describe how the Republicans are fucking up right now because they're really fucking up. They campaign on cutting the budget. They campaign on tax cuts and all this other typical Republican like narrative and stuff. But when it comes down to it, the only one that actually proposes budget cuts and the only one that actually wants to cut taxes seems like, and I say this consistently. Okay, I'm sure there's some that are, other Republicans that are, trying to cut the budget and cut taxes. But as far as consistency's sake, the only one that does is Massey. Massey's the only one that's consistent with it. The rest of them, you know, yeah, this is true. Republicans are really just Democrat light. They are. I heard somebody say that Republicans and Democrats are both socialists. It's just that Democrats are sprinting towards socialism while Republicans are just walking. I don't see how that's not far from the truth, because they're still passing these high spending bills. They've passed even like more gun control legislations. And then after the Alex Preddy shooting, killing, whatever, however you want to label that situation in Minnesota, you have all these so-called Republicans and right-wingers, maybe not necessarily in Congress, but all over social media, basically being the most anti-Second Amendment people possible. It was insane how the masks just slipped on them. Alex Preddy, he's allowed to have a firearm for protection. It was fine. You're an American. You can have a firearm for protection. That's just part of being American. And they just flipped a switch. There are NPCs, NPC Republicans, just as much as there are NPC leftists. You just see it more on the left because they own the media. They own and run the media. They own and run academia. So and Hollywood. So you see it more with the left because they have all of that propaganda. So it's more common with them. But for the right, that it's almost as bad. It's just not as widespread. There are some people on the right who are willing to call out bullshit whenever they see bullshit, but not all of them. And it's very troubling to see, because the same people who were mad at Massey for not voting with his party to pass something that Trump wanted passed are the same people who laugh at the left when they do vote blue no matter who. Like, that is the most hypocritical thing ever. You make fun of the left and you get mad at the left for their vote blue no matter who, but you're getting mad at a congressman for not voting for something just because his party proposed it, just because his party wanted it passed. That doesn't make any sense at all. Also, the Democrats fought for slavery and segregation. Yeah, they did. And they like to forget that. Oh, the party switched. No. You are still belittling minorities with this whole, the woke stuff is just rebranded. But instead of looking down at them negatively. You look down at them pitifully, but they're still seeing minorities as lesser, which is why I don't get how anybody who is a minority can go along with that, because they're treating you like you're lesser because you're weak or you can't stick up for yourself and they have to stick up for you. The whole white savior thing. And that's just what is very common with the left. And it's, I don't know how they're not embarrassed. Like, really. Democrats started kicking it. Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. The Dems still want slavery with illegal immigrants. Yeah, so here's the funny thing about that is that a lot of these ICE protests, like you'll see these like older white liberal women, and they start bringing up how these are just people who just want a better life. Okay. Like, these are the people who are like gonna, like, your gardeners and people picking your fruit. Okay, Karen, you should have just stopped at the better life quote. Because now you're just saying that they're doing these menial stereotypical jobs. That who else is going to do menial stereotypical jobs? That's all they're good for is menial stereotypical jobs because nobody else wants to do them. So give it to the Mexicans, right? Not only that, but a lot of times whenever they are doing these like construction jobs or agriculture jobs, they're being paid like under the table, of course, because they're not legal. So since they're being paid under the table, they can pay them whatever they want. They can pay them like crap wages. So what they're defending is, yeah, basically like slave labor because they want them to be able, like, cheap labor. Democrats are mad about Republicans getting rid of their cheap labor again. So it's just, doesn't surprise me. It's elitist versus the economic slaves, in my opinion. All sides are just too up their own elitist ass to see it. Yeah, that is that's very true. There's elitists on both sides for sure. There's moral elitists on the left, and on the right, there's just different kind of elitists. And on the right, you actually also have like the religious elitists as well, more than you would have religious elitists on the left. Although the left is more than willing to police your morality. That's because their whole religion being like the woke thing. But yeah, they are so very much up their own elitist ass that their own elitists can't do wrong. And anybody who has that mindset, you can't really trust them to give you any kind of honest opinion for anything. It's like it's like the wife who was like, does this make my butt look big? And if you answer right, like, or if you answer truthfully, you might get in trouble with the wife, right? So you just lie all the time. So if you have somebody who's always going to give you that because they don't want you to react to what they think you don't want to hear, you're never going to get an honest answer out of them. That's just not. Screen keeps glitching. I'm sorry. I didn't figure out what's going on. I don't think it's my camera. It's maybe the browser, because this is through a browser. This is through, let's see, what am I using? I'm using Chrome, Google Chrome. It's supposed to be, okay, I see a little glitch there. I don't know. Maybe it is my camera. I hope it's not. It's not a cheap camera. Anyway. Yeah. Buffering. I hope it's not. Because whenever, like last week, whenever my stream kept freezing on my screen, I didn't see any freeze. But whenever I look back at the recording, the freezes were there, but you could still hear my voice. So it was weird. Anyway. Thank you. All right, so we've digressed quite a bit back from Pam Bondi. But after her whole, but the Dow is up 50,000 and just throwing a fit. What does the Dow have to do with that? Are you kidding me? That's what she said. She really threw a fit that somebody dare ask, what does the Dow have to do with the fact that you're misredacting the files, not in accordance to the Epstein Transparency Act, the memes started. There have been some amazing memes. There have been, like, I even made some of the memes. There was like an anime meme where they had her looking like some sort of smug villain bitch, and it was beautiful. Obviously, it was AI, but it was very well done. Very well done. And there was, oh goodness. I personally did one where I face swapped her with Hillary and say, what difference does it make? The Dow is over 50,000. So yeah, she's still being dragged by both sides. Of course, the left is going to drag her regardless because they're going to drag anybody in the administration because anything orange man they're going to hate, whatever. But there's people on the right that are also calling for her to resign because there's people on the right that are still really passionate about the Epstein thing. They really want, justice. Like, who doesn't want justice? Like, if you legitimately do not want justice for the Epstein victims, then you are a horrible person. I hope you never have kids. And if you do have kids, I hope that you learn one day how disgusting that is to not want justice for child victims. So, yeah, she needs to resign. Period. She needs to resign because Trump's not going to fire her. She kisses his ass too much. And that's what he likes. He likes ass kissers. And she kisses his ass way too much to get fired. Because he went on to say she did a great job. Like I said earlier, I don't think we watched the same hearing because I didn't see her do a great job at all. She was an absolute dumpster fire. And I think she needs to go back again. I want more memes. I want her to be humiliated more in front of Congress because she's doing such a horrific job. And like even Dan Bongino dipped out with this because like I think the pressure with like the Epstein thing, even Dan Bongino dipped out. Maybe she can resign over that. Just like Bondi, it's too much. It's too much for you. Just resign. Just resign. Okay, just resign. Obviously, this work is just too much. It's too hard. Okay, it's not like Legally Blonde. Okay, you're not Elle Woods, so just resign. Just resign. We'll all be better off, and maybe the victims can actually get some justice if you resign. I think we'd be a lot better if they got some justice with an actual capable attorney general. That, or maybe Trump's demanding she doesn't prosecute anybody, which I wouldn't doubt both. I really wouldn't. But there were some names that were named that Congress actually saw unredacted finally. One was a sultan. Like, can you believe that? A sultan? The one that he was guilty of, I believe, was the torture video. There was an email that said, I really enjoyed the torture video. And it was emailed to Epstein. So apparently Epstein was sending torture videos to sultans. Like, this guy was so connected to anyone around the world. Like, this is how deep and high up this whole trafficking ring was. He was emailing with sultans. Muslims being into young girls? Never. I'm shocked. Oh. But yeah. I think women shouldn't be in politics as representatives anyway. LOL, most of them have been horrible, in my opinion. There's the occasional good one. But as far as women are wired to be more emotional and social creatures, that's just how women are more wired naturally. That's why they're usually the caregivers and whatnot. Whereas men are hardwired differently. So as far as that goes, there is the occasional one that is good. That's not very common. And it's not internalized misogyny for me to say that. It's just fact. Have not been a lot of very good, female reps. Marjorie Taylor Greene actually had a pretty good score, Liberty score, I believe. So I think she did a fair job. And I'm, like I said before, I'm kind of sad that Trump ran her out, because she was actually going hard for the survivors, the Epstein survivors. And but I guess that's what he wanted, right? He want one less person to be pushing him on the Epstein files. And the fact that he has behaved the way he has is extremely disappointing, especially because he was all about releasing them on the campaign trail. It's like, oh yeah, we should definitely see, and they should, perpetrators should go to jail. And then now it's like, oh, his name's on there. Oh, it's Epstein's trying to make me look bad, and Epstein's trying to like conspire against me. Dude, if he is, if he was, then yeah, but it doesn't mean that you redact everybody else, because we want justice, Anyway, so too long didn't watch. Pam Bondi screwed the pooch at the congressional hearing about the Epstein files, which is no surprise there. She's extremely incompetent, and we all kind of saw that coming. What we didn't see coming is her bringing up the Dow. No one saw her bringing up the Dow. It was horrifically hilarious and sad that she did that. She dared do that in front of the survivors. That was just such the biggest slap in the face. And I think out of all of it, her doing that in front of the survivors and trying to distract away from the files with something as irrelevant as the Dow, in a way, I think that's the worst part of it, is that she did it in front of the survivors. And that was such a heartless move. So, yeah. Anyway, we have 7 minutes left. I want to make something of an announcement. If I can figure out how to remove personal information from a concert ticket for anybody listening in the Houston area, I have an extra ticket to give away. I do not have any further details on how or how this contest is going to go or what I'm going to do for it. But it is a concert ticket to see Apocalyptica and the Rasmus. So if you're in the Houston area, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to try to do some sort of giveaway for that. But let's get a message from today's sponsor. You know it. You love it. It is libertariangoth.com, the internet's largest alternative geared Liberty apparel store. Everything from t-shirts to jackets and hoodies to mugs to wall art, posters, calendars with your thickness there, stickers. And it's kind of late now to order this, but I did also have a Valentine card, a Ron Paul one, which is, by the way, if you have not seen the Tucker Carlson interview with Ron Paul, he just interviewed him this past Wednesday, or he dropped it on Wednesday. Go see it. It's on his X. It's on Tucker Carlson's X. Anyway, so check it out. We even have shoes. I really haven't brought up the shoes yet. I have shoes. I need to order myself some of these shoes. The ones that I want, though, I want these Ayn Rand ones. They're Ayn Rand canvas shoes. And yes, I know they're like $70, but these are, special printed and made. It's Goth Ayn Rand with the logo on the back. Yeah, I want these. These are ones I want. I personally love these because I love Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was not really a fan of libertarians, but I love Ayn Rand. I don't care. It's one of those things where it's like, are you friends? No. Yes. And then we also have these that I also want as well. Gadsden slides, but it just says, leave me alone, which is basically how every libertarian feels. Just leave me alone. All right, yeah, so we have those. And we also have stickers too. I know I'm going through all of these. I'm tired. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. But yeah, all the stickers are holographic. I even have Javier Milei, and I have that Ayn Rand design here, and a holographic sticker as well. I have this artwork that I had commissioned to fund the NSA. Very black metal. And the emo Gadsden. It's a snake with a emo haircut. And it says, leave me alone. Like an emo kid. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, check it out. Browse if you're ever bored. And see what's going on over there. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. You won't believe the kind of stuff I have. I have swimsuits too. You didn't know that. All right. I doubt they have size 14 shoes. Is this a challenge? Let me see. I'm going to check. Let's see how high our shoes go. Let's see. Men's sizes go up to... All right, drop down. Drop down. It's not dropping down. Okay. Now it's dropping down. Oh, no. The biggest size we have is size 13. So you're right. You bet we don't have, or you doubt that we have size 14. You are right. We don't have size 14. We only go up to size 13 shoe. So my apologies. And unfortunately, I don't have any control over that. The supplier is the one that makes all the sizes that are available. But the things like the sandals, you should be able to go like large sandals or whatever, or extra large. I'm not sure if that sandals even go up to extra large. Now the Gadsden slides only go up to 12.5, so those are actually sized instead of just small, medium, large. All right. Anyway. Check this. Yeah, check this sponsor out. And I will also I'll also put together about like how to do that concert ticket giveaway. I know I have some people that follow me that are in the Houston area. I don't know how many, but yeah, I'll try to do that giveaway. If you're, around the Houston area, you just like win a free concert ticket and it's not too bad of a drive. There's always that option. So yeah. All right. So thank you for joining me tonight. It has been a blast. I know we always digress and ramble in here, but it's always fun. I enjoy getting on here, dragging politicians, and bitching about the news with everybody in here. It's always a great time. But I do hope you all have a great rest of your night. Have a great and safe weekend. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. And Friday the 13th is almost over. So watch out for guys in hockey masks the rest of the night. All right. And always make sure to lead with kindness unless they don't deserve it.